The structure of the Fresh and Fit podcast is Fresh and Fit. They call themselves high value males, which is of course a term.
Oh my God! Oh, if you had told me that, I never would have pressed play. What the fuck?
So Fresh and Fit are not high value? Now, once again, I mean, if these brothers think they're high value, it's okay. That's their opinion. But y'all laughing? Like, these men have a basically almost a national syndicate show. Like, they got hundreds of thousands. They got probably millions and millions of views. Like, what? Okay, let's keep going.
They are high value males. Of course, that is a term that has been coined or made popular by Kevin Samuels, and the Fresh and Fit podcast deals with male-female dynamics and things that go on down there in Miami. But they're part of the manosphere. There's all these podcasts out there right now with this really, really masculine, super energy. I wouldn't even say masculine, because the masculine energy is completely awesome and great. But they have this, like, I'd say they're men, they're men and women.
What's wrong with that? You got men out here clowning other men for their masculinity? Wow, gentlemen, you see this, bro? So the manosphere is masculine, men, but we can't be men. So who are we supposed to be? A bitch? Wow, gentlemen, let's keep going. Wow, this is crazy.
This and that, and that's what they're trying to do. Maybe toxic masculinity would be a better thing, but I don't want to brand them as.
Wow. Gentlemen, so being a man is toxic masculinity? Van Lathan, you bro. I'm not gonna call you a bitch for that, but bro, use a hoe for saying that, man. Are you serious right now? You got men out here finally stating their piece after all these decades of being silenced, but now we are saying our piece in these last 10 years. You know, the Black Manosphere and the MGTOW and the IGMOR, and now SYSBN is bringing up the rear, basically. So us having a voice is toxic masculinity coming from Van Lathan? Come on, bro, you wrong for this one. Let's keep going.
Toxic, that's what they're doing, and a lot of people like Fresh Fit. Now,
wow,
Fresh Fit have talked about a lot of things. They talk about going out on yacht parties. They're talking about the fact that they don't want to be with one woman because they're high value men. All of these things they've talked about. But they've also decided recently, for whatever reason, or in the past at some point, that they were going to talk about Black women. Fresh is, I think Fresh is from Barbados, and Fit, I think, is part Sudanese. So these are both guys that we would consider here in America to be Black. Now, this all started initially when they had Asian Doll on the podcast. Did you see when they had Asian Doll on the podcast?
I did.
Fit kicked Asian Doll off of the podcast
right,
because he said that she was being disrespectful. He didn't actually kick her out. Let me make sure I know that she left.
She left.
She left the podcast because she said that he was being too mean or whatever. Then a clip surfaced of Fresh and Fit, two Black dudes talking about why they don't date Black women, or not why, but the fact that they don't date Black women. This is that clip.
Hold up, pause before we get to that clip. What's the problem with that? So two Black dudes, because you guys kept making emphasis there are two Black dudes. Oh, there's Sudan. Well, certain people in Sudan don't consider themselves to be Black, so they're Arab and this. I've heard it many times that a lot of these Sudanese people don't consider themselves to be Black. Barbados, okay, cool. Barbados in the Caribbean, okay, cool. But let's keep going. Let's keep going, because the thing is, you trying to dilute their talking points, because let's keep going. Watch this. Watch how they flip this, because they're talking about one specific type woman, but then they're gonna flip it and be like, oh, these are all Black women. But watch this.
I mean, hey, bro, if you want to date a bunch of Shaniquas, go for it, man.
LaQuisha.
Yeah, like me and Fresh aren't really down with the brown like that.
Man.
We ain't night riders.
Nah,
so
bro, I'm good.
Sometimes if they're red bone, but like in general, me and Fresh don't dabble in the dark. If you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay, so
What's wrong with that? Obviously, we can say that he's talking about these hood black women. Now, once again, I don't know the first part to the clip. I don't know what the so-called gentleman asked them. He could have asked them, hey, listen, do you date with American black women, this, that, and the third? He said, we don't deal with LaQuisha and LaBrica. Okay, well, once again, this is their platform. They can say whatever they want to. Right? They can say whatever they want to. Listen, we don't deal with LaQuisha and LaBrica and all these other, we don't deal with these women, just like you women don't deal with Dusties. You women don't deal with Dusties and American black, and the so-called American black men. So basically, all you women are basically Dusty. We some bitch ass niggas, and we're Dusty. This is the majority of the so-called American black men to you black women. We're bitch ass niggas, and we're Dusty. So what's the problem? Let's keep going.
obviously that clip made its way to the shade room. It made its way to the shade room in light of the Asian Dog clip, because a lot of people thought that they were mean to Asian Dog. All right, so before we get into what we thought about both things, Fresh and Fit took it upon themselves to address the clip on a stream that they did earlier this week. This is basically what they had to say about black women, about the fact that they do not date black women, and about anybody who questions why that might be the case. Go ahead and roll that, Donnie.
When it comes to dating and your personal preferences, no one bats an eye when women say, I want a man that's 6 feet tall, makes a certain amount of money, blah, blah, blah. Those are considered preferences. But if I say, hey, man, I don't date black girls like that. Oh, God!
You hate black women.
How dare you?
You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
My mom's black, your mom's black.
Yeah.
My sister's black. Like, bro, we just have a preference.
If we hated black women, would we...
Simple. We have a preference. We know where we come from. We know what we're talking about. Why would a man say something and the female that he came from is a quote unquote black? I guess everybody that's brown skinned in America is just falls in this category of black. Okay, whatever. They know what they're talking about. These two men are not stupid. They're not dumb. They knew exactly what they were saying when they were saying it. They know exactly what they're talking about. They know exactly what type of women they deal with. They know exactly what type of women they don't want to deal with. I mean, it's not that serious, man. Like, why are we taking offense to a preference? We're taking offense? Oh my God, you don't talk to American black women. Oh my God. Like, come on, man. Let's grow up. Keep it moving.
Bring African American women and black women on the show.
Okay, but
all the time.
The question.
Let me finish.
Okay.
We would not if we had an issue with them. Our dating preferences are our preferences. Just like you have the prerogative as a woman to date a man that makes a certain amount of money, a height, income, whatever it is, no one bats an eye. We are free to choose who we want to hook up with and date. Like, what the hell? Like, there's nothing wrong with having preference.
Okay.
Like he just said, there's nothing wrong with him having a preference. There's nothing wrong. So, gentlemen, once again, you can have whatever preference you want. You don't have to be bound to these women. You don't have to be bound to any group of women. I don't care what nation you come from. If you gentlemen want to deal with other groups of women, gentlemen, you can do that. You don't have to be with that certain group of people because you grew up around those certain group of women. I say this all the time about the so-called ABW. How are these women? The thing is about the so-called this community, the black community. How are we as so-called black men obligated to her, but she is not obligated to us? And you women say this all the time. We don't belong to you. We don't belong to you. But you women always want to dick police us on who we deal with. How does that work? How do we get dick police, but you women can be free to date whoever you want to and have sex with whoever you want to have sex with? But as soon as I start putting my seed in different groups of women, I'm wrong. Let's keep going.
Before I even jump in with any of my thoughts. I've been talking a lot. Rachel, you are the resident black lady. You and Trudy. Trudy, I know Trudy got to say. You and Trudy of the podcast. What's your response to what Fresh and Fit said?
Well, I have a question first.
Sure.
In those clips that we saw, because I was unfamiliar with them, I was unfamiliar with their podcast. I don't know how popular it is, but when I watched the clips, there were women also sitting at the table.
Yes.
Black women, several.
Yes.
Are they a part of the podcast normally?
So
It's their show.
I
Who
actually had talked to academics and actually had got a DM from Fresh about maybe going on their podcast, because what they talk about is like relationships and all of that stuff like that.
Tell him to come here, and I'm
It's
gonna tell you
fine.
why in a second.
And so, but yes, so what they
And what are
typically
you gonna
do is
do?
there are two guests, and then there's a whole table. It's actually a really novel way to do to do content. A whole table full of people.
Genius.
There are two hosts and a whole table full of people. They talk, and then there's a conversation that goes on around the table. And yeah, a lot of the times there are black ladies up there, but it's Miami, so it's a very multicultural, community. So you have blacks, you have Latinos, you have Cuban ladies, you have Dominican ladies, you have all different types of ladies, but they're normally of a certain age range. And they're all sitting around talking about that type of stuff.
Okay, so that's nice if that's the concept of it, but I didn't grasp that when I watched those clips, because on multiple occasions, and there's another occasion where they're, that's when they're explaining why they said what they said about black women. Fit hushes the black woman, like, hush, I'm talking, and multiple occasions. So that's why I was trying to understand the setup of this show.
It's his show. If the man has a setup of his show and you're not abiding by the rules, yes, he's going to tell you to hush. What do you mean? You're going to come up on somebody else's show and do whatever you want to do? Because see, this goes back to the lack of the discipline. This goes back to the lack of the discipline, the lack of the masculine presence in a lot of these households in the ABW community. So yes, he's supposed to tell you hush, because like your father was supposed to tell you hush. Young lady, if you sitting there getting out of hand, no, you shut your mouth. As my father would say back in the day, listen, you in my house, you're not gonna speak to me any other way. That's what a father is supposed to do. But hey, listen, you got 70-some-odd% of these women raised by single mothers. Of course, you don't get that discipline. So like, what are we talking about? Let's keep going.
Because they don't invite conversation, they shush people, and it is very
He says
toxic.
only one. He just to let you know, he says only one person talks at a time.
It's very toxic to shush somebody. But you telling grown men to shut the F up, you bitch ass nigga. That's not toxic either. That's not toxic. You can say whatever you want to say because you're expressing yourself. But I tell you to shush because you're on my show and you acting out a character. And I tell you to shush because listen, I have ground rules. Everybody gets the chance to speak their piece. And this is how our show is going to run. So when a man has authority, when a man has standards, and when a man has established his platform, whatever he's built, you just gonna come in there and do whatever you want to do? Okay, once again, what other communities is even having these dumbass talking points? Let's keep going.
So even in that same clip, which I watched the entire thing, I watched their entire stream. When somebody else would try to cut that same girl off, he would say, "Stop, let her finish."
Right.
So
Unless he was talking.
Well, what I'm
doesn't
saying
matter.
is, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying is, if she was talking, he would stop and say, "Let her finish talking." And then when he's talking, I'm not taking up for him. I'm just saying, if people watch the stream, his whole thing is,
Bro, see, that's what I'm saying. This dude, Lathan, bro, you being soft out here, man. You don't have to explain anything. It's that man's show. He's letting everybody get a chance and get a turn. This is what masculinity does. It brings the balance. This is not chaotic. Listen, you gotta have order. Everything is not chaotic. I just do what I want to do. Once again, I don't understand how you females don't understand this. But once again, it goes back to the 60s, since your mama and them left our grandfather and them back in the 60s. So now 50 some odd years, the so-called community has been in chaos. So of course, when a man in 2022 is trying to establish something, that's why you women look all cross-eyed and call it toxic masculinity. Crazy. Let's keep going.
is when one person's talking, don't interrupt. So when he shush her like that's what he.
I understand. I guess I just saw the guys talking over each other back and forth, but when a woman would step in, it was like hush.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That's
So
what
what's wrong with that?
that's what I noted. So there was some extreme toxic masculinity going, and the reason why
Here we go back to toxic. See, gentlemen, I told you, gentlemen. Only thing you are to these women are a tool, and you're just a bitch to these women. You gentlemen don't have any talking points. You're just a bitch. You're something to be used. You don't. Listen, bitch. You don't speak. They're the pimp. You're the hoe, gentlemen. That's how it's going down in the so-called Black American community. They're the pimp. You're the bitch. You don't say anything. You're the ATM. Whatever. If I need some sperm from you, if I need your money, if I need this, I need that, you're just a bitch, and you're just gonna sit there and be used like a good bitch you are. But if you say something, and you start exerting yourself, you start getting back to your masculine frame because your daddy ain't do it, your grandfather ain't do it, your great grandfather ain't do it. Now all of a sudden it's toxic masculinity. Okay, let's keep going.
that don't go on their podcast, come over here, because, and I wanted to understand the setup of that show. It's because I didn't like, and I didn't watch the whole thing because I had enough watching the clip, that I wanted to hear from the women who they were offending at that table. I wanted them to.
So once again, common sense. My dear, how do you have an opinion about something that you cut short? You cut the clip short. You didn't cut the show, you cut the clip short. So how do you have an opinion about what they said and how the way they said it when you cut the clip short? So you don't even have the full understanding of what the whole clip was about because you cut the clip short. They took a part of the show and they showed you the clip. You got so mad you cut the clip short. So how do you have an opinion when they took a piece of the show and the piece of the show that they showed you, you cut it off? So how do you have an opinion? Let's keep going.
Here, and it seemed like, and maybe it comes later on in the past, and I mean in that clip.
She did get a chance to talk. He let her have a whole, yeah.
That's the clip that we need to see, because the way it looks like the black women aren't even given a chance to speak on what they're saying. So I'm glad to.
But you cut the clip short, so how would you know this? You cut the clip short. So how are you on the platform talking about something that you cut short? You don't even have all the information. But you got an opinion about what they said? Like how much of the clip did you even watch? 5 seconds? I don't like black women. Oh, I'm mad. Cut it off. Boom. Oh, I don't deal with the brown. Oh, that made me mad. I cut the clip off. Boom. So, sweet. This is crazy. Let's keep going.
Hear that. Okay, so moving on. I hate that we have to talk about this subject, and people who are listening are probably like, oh, they're just they're ignorant. That's an ignorant line of thinking. That's just these two guys. No, the reason we have to talk about it is because it is.
Is what?
That they are not. They don't stand.
You see how she paused? See how she paused? What they say when people look to the right, when they look up to the right like that, they gotta make up some type of lie. She said she gotta pause. She gonna make up some nonsense. She gonna make up some nonsense. Hold on, let's keep going.
Alone when it comes to that line of thinking. There are a lot of black men who think that way. There are a lot of black men who say that very proudly and loudly. It's not just a one-off. I can remember in college where I would have black men tell me to my face that they didn't date black women. They wanted a woman.
And you tell black men to their face they some bitch ass niggas. You told black men to their face that are working hard every single day that their money's not good enough. You're broke, busted, and disgusted. You're dusty. You're a bitch ass nigga. You don't get no pussy. This, that, and the third. This is what you women say all day to us, to our face. So these two men having a preference is a problem. But you calling us a bitch ass nigga, and hell, I think you guys even went as far as talking about aborting black male children. So, wow. Okay.
Oh, no.
Let's keep going.
Woman who looked a certain way, and if she might be black, she had to have European features, which is what they reference with, well, maybe I would do a red bone.
So Redbone has European features? Because she's a Redbone. But hold on. Pause. Ain't this Rachel Lindsay? When you would be considered a Redbone, my dear. So what are you talking about? You would be considered a Redbone. So do you have European? Once again, you have so-called curly hair. You don't have the afro. You don't have the nappy. You don't have the nappy hair going on right now. So your hair right now is European. That your makeup and your foundation that you got on right now is European. So how do you have all this hostility towards Fresh and Fit when you literally fit the? Once again, okay, let's back up. So Fresh said he wants a red bone. My dear Rachel Lindsay, he would be talking about you, boo boo. What are you talking about? So if Fresh were to talk to you, did you consider yourself to have the European features? Because you're a red bone. You would be considered a red bone. Let's be honest. Yeah, gentlemen, wouldn't Rachel Lindsay be considered a red bone in the so-called community? Yes, because you're not dark skinned. You're not brown skinned, you're light skinned. Maybe if you take off that makeup, but right now on the camera, you look like a red bone. So he would be talking about you. So how are you offended? Just keep going.
So sad that they can't understand how damaging that is, because they're allowing a certain type of stereotype to perpetuate within our community and are okaying it. But
saying that all men are bitch ass niggas is not the same damage. Saying that all men are rusty dusty, that's not the same damage you talking about. But we being bitch ass niggas, that's not damaging. But we being dusty, you calling us dusty is not damaging. But two men that have an opinion, that's damaging. Oh, okay, let's keep going.
it's also so damaging because they're trying to mask it under, oh, it's just a preference. Just like you might like somebody tall or with a certain eye color. But
Okay.
that's the difference. A preference is, oh, that's my taste, or maybe I have a tendency to like that.
What's wrong with that? Oh, my bad. Since they have the dark hue of flesh, they're supposed to automatically like the so-called black women. Listen, it's a brand new day, brothers. Listen, let's be honest. A lot of millennials and Gen Zs, they not pumping with a lot of these American black women like that no more. Let's just be honest. And it's not because of your hue of flesh. It's your attitudes. Men have said this for decades. You women know why a lot of brothers are going to the so quote unquote dark side to these other groups of women. You women know why we are going to other groups of women. It's not a mystery. Every group of women knows why the so-called black men are going to other groups of women. It has nothing to do with your hue of flesh. It has to do with your attitude. And you women know this. Let's not play dumb. Oh, okay. Let's keep going. Because she's going to say something crazy. Watch this.
They're doing is, it's an absolute. I absolutely don't date black women. And then use derogatory
American black
language like, oh, all black women have names like Shaquita. You dabble
Who
in
said
the
that?
dark. It's disgusting, and they talk about it as if they're repulsed by black women. That's not
And once again, men, African American men being bitch ass niggas and dusty, that's not derogatory. That's not painting a bad picture towards everybody on planet Earth. That all black American men are broke, busted and disgusted. They some bitch ass niggas. They don't take care of their kids. They run around just having all types of babies out of wedlock because this is what you've been saying for decades. So what's the problem? So now when the so-called heat is thrown back to you women, now you can't take it. Now you want to play a victim now. Now you want to get into your feminine frame now. All of a sudden you want to get feminine you want to get feminine now all of a sudden. Bitch ass nigga after bitch ass nigga after bitch ass nigga. But now two men got a preference. Now all of a sudden you can't take it. Wow. Okay, let's keep going.
preference you have to not date black women. You are disgusted by them. And if I had been at the table, my immediate question would have been like, why?
That's what the girl
Why
asked.
why are you so adamant
Yeah.
to not, and what was their response as to why?
That they don't have to explain why.
And I'll tell you why they're afraid to say it. They don't like black women. If they don't want to say it.
And you black women don't like black men. So what are we talking about? So there you have it. You black women don't like black men. Black men don't like black women. So this is why I say, gentlemen, save yourself. Gentlemen, go choose who you want to choose. At the end of the day, here we go. Black men don't like black women. Black women don't like black men. That's it, man. It took us 50 some odd years to get to this point. We just don't like each other. There you have it. So two men have a preference, but then when she goes to say that it don't go, listen, this preference that these two men have don't go to these two men, but it goes to all these black men. So since this opinion of these two men go to everybody, and the opinions that go in a lot of you women on these platforms talking about some you men are dusty, and that's what you women think. So here's listen, it's plain and simple. Black men and black women do not like each other. It's not that hard. This is why we need to go our separate ways. There's no point in coming back and building anything. Let's go our separate ways and let's keep it moving. A couple more seconds, I'm about to shut this down.
Yeah.
But they're masking it under, I have a preference just like you.
Yeah.
What it really is self-hatred and a disgust of black women. So if you do a social caste system, black women are at the bottom, and they play into that thought by calling them Shaniquas and dabble in the dark and all of these like they're disgusted by us. Mm-hmm. So they say that they don't have to explain because they don't want to face the truth. They don't want people to know the truth. They don't like black women, period.
Right.
And you don't like, once again, you don't like black men, period. There we go. After all these decades, here we go. We don't like you, you don't like us. So let us separate and go our separate ways. This conversation should have happened back in the 60s. But that's fine. It's happening in the 2022. You women don't like us. You've been saying it decade after decade after decade. You guys already know what these women say. And now these two men have an opinion. These two men have an opinion because she took it from these two men to when she was in college. All these black dudes will come to her, and if you didn't have European features and this, that, and the third, they wasn't going for you, this, that, and the third. So once again, here we go. It's plain and simple, gentlemen. We don't like them. They don't like us. So, gentlemen, what are you going to build with people, women that don't like you, and supposedly you don't like them, even though you get with them at 85%? Yeah, we won't look like, here we go. But we don't want to talk about facts and numbers. Oh, we're just going to go off feelings. Okay. But, 85%, last time I checked, we are hooking up with we are getting with the so-called ABW. But then again, 75% she's asking us for a divorce. So there we go, gentlemen. There we go. They don't like us, we don't like them. So gentlemen, separate and go your own way. Go your own way, gentlemen. Connect with whoever you want to connect to, gentlemen. What's the point of staying in this toxic ass a community where nothing is getting built? Men and women hate each other, and we're just sticking around to do what? What are we doing? Out of obligation? What are we doing? Gentlemen, you sticking around the so-called community for what? Because you have to? Because your grandfather did it, and your father did it, and your great-grandfather did it, so you have to follow in the same lines too? Nah, gentlemen, you ain't got to do none of that stuff. You gentlemen want to be with whoever you want to be with, gentlemen. That's your prerogative. That's your business. And don't let nobody tell you any differently. So there you go. At the end of the day, we don't like you. You don't like us. So let's go our separate ways. You just fix the problem. Problem has been solved. After all, I'm going to say it again. After all these decades, here we go. We don't like you. You don't like us. So get that blackity black BS out of here. Get this blackity black, oh, we love you, black man. Get that stuff out of here. That black love, I'm gonna say it again, does not exist. Because like this female just said, listen, we don't like you. And all these years, what you've been saying, you don't like us. So gentlemen, go about your business, man. Plain and simple. Go about your business. You gentlemen go out here and you create the reality that you want, and you create that reality with whoever you want to be with, and don't turn back. Sisters, you do the same thing. There's no point to keep delaying it. Let's just move about. But we're not gonna keep getting used. Let's keep it moving, gentlemen. Anyways, man, that's all I gotta say. Like, share, and subscribe, gentlemen. Be about your business, man. If you being masculine is toxic to these women, oh well, keep it moving. Peace.